This is the 1992 Mitsubishi Minica Dangan ZZ, a Japanese market car that, thanks to the 25-year rule, just recently became legal to import into the USA. Dangan is the Japanese word for bullet, which summarizes the performance philosophy of this car perfectly. It was Mitsubishi's foray into the K-car hot hatch craze, going head-to-head with similarly equipped competitors like the Suzuki Alto Works. But these cars didn't just battle one another in the performance arena, they were in a decades-long war to win sales in many categories. The Minica product line was incredibly diverse, offering multiple trim levels in 2-door, 4-door, and even this 3-door variant called Lettuce. Yeah, Lettuce. But wait, there's more. Need a delivery truck? The Minica's got you covered. While all of this is great, my favorite out of the whole bunch is this fun box, also known by its formal name, the Topo. Even the Topo came in a bunch of different variants. Okay, back to the Dangan. The pint-sized pocket rockets of this era were loaded with performance-oriented features and innovations aimed at delivering an exhilarating driving experience at a reasonable price and with a small footprint. Starting on the outside, you're immediately thrown off by this car's split personality. It has a friendly, quirky commuter car shape with its high roofline and stubby nose, yet at the same time, it's covered with aggressive, over-the-top garnish that screams performance. What's going on here? Everywhere you look, you see high-performance stuff. Up front, an aggressive bumper cover that boasts a giant lower grille, big rally-style fog lights, a proportionately huge yet functional intercooler scoop, and intercooler turbo in bold Mitsubishi red lettering. Speaking of bold lettering, the ZZ is covered with decals touting what it's got under the hood. On both sides, we have a big dual overhead cam 5-valve intercooler turbo sticker, and just below it this Dangan sticker, which reiterates what the sticker above it says, just in case you missed it. Rounding out the decals and emblems, here in the back we have the Mitsubishi Motors Corporation or MMC logo, balanced out by the Dangan Minica badge, and finally the ZZ designation. This fine, all-original example still wears its dealer sticker, and with the help of Google Translate, we can see that it was first sold in lovely Kyoto. Walking around the car gives you the total picture. The ground effects, the painted aluminum wheels, that aggressive front end, the monochromatic paint scheme, the prominent decals, the rear hatch spoiler, the vented bumper cover, and finally, what can only be described as exhaust tip perfection. Yes, it's a 3-outlet satin black finisher which represents how many cylinders we're working with. Seeing it in person, it all works well together. It's pure, untainted, early 90s nostalgia these days, but imagine seeing the ZZ for the first time back in 1992. How can a car be this cute and this intimidating at the same time? While the Dangan ZZ is a very small car, parking it alongside this Smart car makes the Smart look a little stubby and cramped, even though the Smart outweighs the Dangan by about 400 pounds. That 400 pounds is most likely thicker metal and safety equipment. Here's another comparison just to put its size into perspective. Okay, let's pop the hood. Now, if you thought the outside was full of fun things to see, check this out. Here we have a 657cc turbocharged and intercooled dual overhead cam fuel-injected 3-cylinder engine. And just to show you how serious Mitsubishi was about small car performance back then, they packed this engine with 5 valves per cylinder, making it the world's first production car with this feature. But this Mitsubishi 3G83T engine still has a few tricks up its sleeve, like the 9,000 RPM redline and surprising low and mid-range torque. While it's true that K-cars of this era were government limited to 660cc's and 64 horsepower, after driving it, I have to imagine they've exceeded this limit a bit. I know it felt noticeably more powerful than my 3-cylinder turbo AutoZam AZ1. The view here under the hood almost has a home-built engine swap look to it. Everything is really packed in tight. Just look at that turbo location. It's practically inside the front bumper. Oh, and in case you were wondering, during my travels, the ZZ got an average of 45 miles per gallon through the Appalachian Mountains with the turbo spooling and the AC blasting. On the inside, you're greeted with a barrage of goodies that have the look and feel of performance. Heavily bolstered and fully adjustable sports seats proudly wear the Dangan 5-valve embroidered logo, while the factory leather-wrapped steering wheel is a great complement to the motorcycle-style gauge pod behind it. Speaking of the gauges, they have a great, sporty look, especially with that big 11,000 RPM tach. Now there's no boost gauge, but instead you get something that's arguably more fun. A turbo light. Yep, it's a light that comes on when the turbo starts doing its thing. Working your way through the interior, you'll find a tight shifter for the 5-speed manual transmission, sporty pedals, power everything, and you even get ice-cold air conditioning, but that's going to cost you some precious horsepower, so use this button wisely. There are little cubbies and clever storage bins all over, and probably my favorite interior feature is this giant passenger grab handle. Oh, they're going to need it. But beyond everything I've told you about so far, what amazed me the most was how roomy and comfortable this car is. Sitting in the front seats feels like sitting in the front seat of any regular compact car, unless you're my 6'4" buddy Jaffro here. He may have been a tad bit cramped in the ZZ. I drove this car on a 1,000-mile adventure, and I'm still amazed how comfy it was and how well it performed. I'll put the link in the description below if you'd like to see that road trip. Oh, and I gotta give a huge shout out to Dangan Imports and Classic Cars for making that trip possible. You've seen and heard me talk about their Car Guy Paradise before, but in case you haven't, wow, are you in for a surprise. I'll link to that video below too. The great use of space continues here in the back. Let's check it out. Okay, testing out the back seat of the Dangan ZZ. I have to say it's totally comfortable and roomy back here. If you check out the legs, plenty of leg room. The seat is all the way back right now and it's totally comfortable back here. Look, tons of headroom. I'm 5'11" and completely comfortable. You could have another full-grown adult in here, it would be fine. Look at the space in here once you fold the back seats down. It's huge. Oh, and I almost forgot about the rear pop-out windows. You gotta have those. Okay, enough already. I know you're dying for me to fire this thing up and go for a drive, so let's do it. Oh, before I fire it up, I better read the instructions up here on the visor. Oh, what? Never mind. I'm just gonna send it. Driving this car is so much fun. Combine 1,450 pounds with a zippy engine and tight steering, and you suddenly have a go-kart. This is the front-wheel drive version. Mitsubishi also made an all-wheel drive version, the ZZ4. Super rare. I've driven a few of these performance K cars, and while they aren't going to win you many races at the drag strip, their size, rev-happy engines, and handling dynamics trick your brain into feeling like you're driving faster than you really are. So that's the 1992 Mitsubishi Minica Dangan ZZ. I'm so thankful that I got to experience this car in the way that I did, and as you'd expect, it really grew on me. What a fun, living and breathing machine that captures a moment in time in the automotive landscape that was as unique and thrilling as it was short-lived. Thank you for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, please let me know in the comments and drop me a line on Facebook or Instagram. I'd love to hear from you over there too. So with that said, thanks again folks. We'll see you next time.